I thought being good would keep me safe, but I was wrong. I raised two children who weren't biologically mine as if they were my own. I worked harder. I made more money. I planned date nights. I went to spiritual direction. I got up at 5 a.m. to do the miracle morning. I kept thinking if I was just good enough, she'll finally realize she made the right choice. But guess what? Narcissists, they don't target weak men. They target nice guys because they know we'll keep auditioning forever. If you've been wondering why nothing you do is ever enough, if you've been blamed for everything while she does whatever she wants, if you've been trying to earn love from someone who sees you as a mark, this episode is going to show you why you were vulnerable and how to kill the people pleaser before it kills you. Ready?
Yeah. Check the mic, 1, 2. This ain't a whisper, this a roar coming through. They try to bury us, but the seed just grew. Now the concrete cracks and the truth breaks through. They told you it was over, said you never survive. But the dead man walking is fully alive. No one is coming to save you, so sharpen the knife. Turn up the podcast, welcome to the brilliant life. Don't let them tell you your story's been spun. Your chapter's not closed, your battle's not done. Every scar's a lesson, every fall a rise. Look them in the eye, see the fire in your eye.
Welcome to the Brilliant Life Podcast. I'm Mike Moulton. This is the tactical briefing for men navigating divorce, betrayal, and the collapse of everything they thought was solid. Whether you're here because something feels wrong in your marriage, but you really can't put your finger on it, or if you've just discovered betrayal maybe 48 hours, 72 hours ago, and your head is still spinning, or you're 6 months out asking, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to our marriage? This episode is for you because nice guys show up at every stage of this crisis. And if you don't understand it, you're going to repeat that pattern in your next relationship. So let me do this. Let me define the nice guy syndrome. It's not just about being kind. It's actually about operating from a covert contract. What's a covert contract? It's an unspoken deal that you made in your head that goes like this. If I do X, she will do Y. If I'm good enough, she'll love me. If I work hard enough, she'll respect me. If I'm patient enough, she'll finally choose me. Here's the problem. She never agreed to the contract. You made it up. And you've been living your entire marriage, maybe your entire life, waiting for her to honor a deal that they've never made with you. And here's what makes it worse. Narcissists, they can smell a nice guy from a mile away because nice guys, they take the blame for everything. Keep giving second chances, delegate power to keep peace. They believe that if they just try harder, things will get better. You weren't targeted because you were weak. You were targeted because your niceness made you exploitable. Let me tell you how this played out in my life. And I'm going to tell you the part that's hard to admit because I don't want to show you my wreckage, to be honest with you. You're going to think that you're the only one who fell for this. Right before the pandemic, I discovered she was having an affair. I had evidence I couldn't explain away. And when I confronted her, she didn't confess. She deflected. She minimized. She made me feel like I was the problem for asking. But I didn't walk away. I stayed on it. I kept pushing, and slowly, piece by piece, she gave me enough information that I knew what had happened. Not a full confession, not the whole truth, but just enough. And here's what I did with that. The next morning, I called and set up a counseling appointment with my therapist for both of us. And then during that time frame, I found another therapist who helped another couple reconcile. So I started trying to build a path back to the marriage. But here's the part that's hard to admit. I forgave her immediately. At least I thought I did. But it wasn't because I'd processed any pain. Actually, my therapist was like, ooh, maybe too fast. But because I thought if I could just forgive fast enough and build the right structure around us, she'd meet me there. She never did. And that's the covert contract. I wasn't naive. I knew what happened, but I chose to try to save the marriage anyway, because that's the covert contract, and that's what it demands. You keep building, you keep forgiving, you keep structuring, and you wait for her to meet you there. That's the nice guy syndrome. And then I spent 18 months trying to save a marriage that was destined to die. I heard from other men in the support groups that I was in with their betrayed partners that their wives were sometimes coming to their senses a year and a half later. So I waited, I hoped, I prayed, I kept building the structure. I thought that if I could make more money and get us out of debt, we'd be great. Meanwhile, the betrayal was running deeper than I knew. Debt was accumulating behind my back. Intimacy had disappeared, and the whole time I kept blaming myself. I blamed the stress of family life. I blamed possibly her depression. I blamed the fact that I wasn't making enough money fast enough. Problem is, I never blamed her, because nice guys, they don't do that. Here's what I need you to understand about immediate forgiveness. When I said I forgive you, I wasn't operating from faith. I was operating from fear. I was trying to gain psychological safety. I was trying to control an outcome. I thought that if I was the good Christian husband who forgives, she'd realize what she was losing and come right back. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Biblical forgiveness means I'm not the arbiter of justice. God is. So I released her to God's justice, which released me to a better future without her fingerprints on it. Without forgiveness, I would just be bitter, waiting for her to get hers while I stewed and become more like Gollum from the Lord of the Rings, obsessed, twisted, and consumed by what was taken from me. But forgiveness doesn't mean staying. It doesn't mean accepting ongoing betrayal. It doesn't mean pretending the old relationship can be resurrected. The old relationship was dead anyways. And forgiveness, that was the death certificate. And here's what the church doesn't tell the nice guy. Jesus himself gives you the grounds to leave. Matthew 19 says, except for sexual immorality. The person who is sinned against by betrayal and infidelity is cleared by God to divorce. You're not violating God's design by walking away from ongoing, unrepentant betrayal. You're actually honoring it, because God hates divorce, but he also hates abuse. Now, here's the part that most men, we don't want to hear, because it requires looking at what we brought into the dynamic. So stay with me here, because this isn't about blaming you or me. It's about understanding the mechanism so that we never fall into it again. When I met my ex-wife, I gave her power before the marriage even started. I believed she was out of my league, more attractive, more desirable. I felt like I was lucky to have her. She made it seem like she chose me. That perception created the power imbalance. And power imbalances are where narcissist abuse thrives. Think about that. It's where narcissistic abuse thrives. And when the goalposts started moving, when I moved into a higher earning career, it wasn't good enough. When I planned date nights, nothing changed. When we went to counseling, nothing changed. When she got more involved in church life, nothing changed. Nothing could make her happy. And every time something didn't work, I didn't think she's impossible to please. I thought, I'm failing. I need to try harder. That's the self-blame escalation that nice guy syndrome creates. Here's the pattern narcissists use with the nice guy. They create chaos. You try to fix it. They dismiss your effort. You blame yourself. You try harder. They take more. You give more. The cycle repeats. And the whole time, they're collecting evidence that you're the problem because you keep apologizing. You keep trying to prove your worth. You keep accepting blame for things you didn't do. I was in a fear cycle. I was being blamed for everything. Every conflict, every failure, every difficulty found its way back to me. But once I saw what was really happening, I was able to walk away. And I want you to be able to do it as well. Turn up the volume here, please, because this is the root. And until you deal with the root, you'll keep treating the symptoms. So where does the nice guy syndrome come from? Why were you vulnerable? Actually, it starts in childhood. When a boy learns that his worth is conditional on his performance. For me, that was my grandfather. I don't want to talk bad about him. I just want to be honest. He would compare me to some of the other kids in our family. He would hold up someone else's achievements and ask why I wasn't more like that. Why wasn't I further along? Why wasn't I doing better? I felt like I had to prove myself over and over, that I wasn't good enough as I was, that if I worked harder, achieved more, behaved better, I could finally earn approval. I was raised by all women in my home. My grandfather was technically the only consistent male influence in my life until my wrestling coach. And I learned early, your value comes from what you do, not who you are. That wound made me a perfect target for a narcissistic woman. Because when I met my ex-wife, she gave me the same message my grandfather gave me. You're useful, but you're not quite enough. I spent my entire marriage trying to prove I was enough. Just like I spent my entire childhood trying to prove that to my grandfather. And it didn't work. Here's what I want you to hear. You married a woman, or you're in a relationship with a woman who gave you the same wound your father or grandfather or mother gave you in childhood. You were still trying to prove yourself to someone who would never be satisfied. Until you see that pattern, you'll repeat it in your next relationship as well. And the next, and the next, and the next. Okay, now that you see the problem, let me show you how to solve the issue within you. We can call it killing the people pleaser within you, but I don't know if that'll get me banned from YouTube. So let's talk about becoming better. Step 1, I want you to recognize the covert contract. Write down your covert contract. Finish this sentence. If I just blank enough, then she will blank. Be honest. What have you been believing? That if you're good enough, she'll love you? If you make enough money, she'll respect you? If you're patient enough, she'll choose you? Name the lie, because you can't destroy what you won't acknowledge. Step 2, stop texting her and talk to God instead. When you wake up and want to apologize for something that's not your fault, sit in silence first. Just you and God. Sit in the hard feelings and hold on to this truth. Nothing you did made her make intentional choices to deceive and betray you. Those are her choices based on what's inside of her and not you. 3, win yourself back. Write yourself an affirmation and repeat it daily. Take yourself out to dinner. Learn to be alone and actually like who you are when no one else is around. You spent years trying to win her. Now win yourself back. Number 4, stop proving and start growing. When she demands you prove you changed, ignore that demand. Instead, grow in your relationship with God through experiential knowledge. Speak to God as a friend. Ask for miracles in your life. Write down 5 gratitudes on a daily basis that have nothing to do with her. Validate who you are and that your validation comes from God and God alone. Now, here's the theological truth that breaks the nice guy syndrome forever. And this is the part I wish someone had handed me before I ever walked down the aisle. 1 Corinthians 10:31 says, "So whether you eat or drink, do all for the glory of God." Listen, seeking validation means confirming something as acceptable to your standard. When you seek approval from others, you make them God. You put their approval on the pedestal, but Christ is already supposed to be on that pedestal. So, when you live to the glory of God, you use your freedom to choose actions that honor God's authority, wisdom, character, and love. Every choice, from the smallest habit to the biggest decision, you aim to make God look as worthy and beautiful as He truly is. Here's the order that changes everything. Love God, love yourself, love others as yourself. Love God, love yourself, love others as yourself. Not make others God, seek their acceptance, and then you'll accept yourself if you're accepted by them. You're already accepted by God through Jesus Christ. Then accept yourself as God accepts you. And then you accept others. You open your heart to other people. Replace validation with this order. Receive God's validation. Validate yourself. You validate others. Replace mercy with the same order. Receive God's mercy. Extend mercy to yourself. Extend mercy to others. Replace forgiveness with this order. Receive God's forgiveness. Forgive yourself. Forgive others. When you get the order right, you stop making idols of other people. You stop giving your power away to define your worth. You stop auditioning for other people's love, and you have your own. Because your approval doesn't come based upon someone else's review of your performance. It comes from God's declaration over you. This is my beloved child, in whom I'm well pleased. And when you know that, not just believe it, but know it experientially, you become unexploitable. You stop being the nice guy, and you start being the man of God that's necessary in every relationship you're in. You will start walking and living with wisdom and love and grace and mercy in ways that you never thought possible. Trust me on this. Please trust me on this. All right, here's your mission for this week. If you're pre-discovery, that is, if you don't know but you feel like something is wrong, but you can't put your finger on it, start documenting things. Write down the patterns that you're seeing. The moving goalposts, maybe the blame shifting, the crazy making behavior. You're not paranoid. You're just paying attention. If you're in the first 72 hours after discovery, I want you to know you're not alone. What you're feeling is normal. The shame, the rage, the confusion, that's betrayal trauma. It's survivable, trust me, but it's also life or death. Don't make the mistake I did. Don't forgive immediately. Don't accept obvious lies, and get help now. If you're 3 to 12 months out, it's time to look at the nice guy pattern. Write down your covert contract. Identify the father wound. Start killing the people pleaser within you. Because if you don't heal this, you will repeat this. And for all of you, get the order right. God's acceptance, self-acceptance, others' acceptance. When you live from that order, you stop being a mark and you start directing your own life the way you desire your life to be. I opened this episode telling you something. I thought being good would keep me safe. Good doesn't keep you safe. God does. And when you finally understand the difference between those two things, you stop being the nice guy and you start being a man of God. Those are not the same thing. One makes you exploitable, the other makes you unshakable. Now get to work. Before we close, if this episode showed you why you were vulnerable and how to destroy the people pleaser within you, please hit the subscribe button and leave a review and share this with one man who's still auditioning for love he'll never earn. You could actually save a life with this.
Where the spirit never dies. They built their walls high, thought they had us contained, but the spirit inside us, it can't be restrained. We break every chain, shatter every mold, a new generation. Stories untold, feel the rhythm in your chest, let it fuel your might. Ignite the revolution with all of your light. This ain't just music, it's a call to the fight. Claim your freedom, seize your birthright.
You just finished episode 8 of the Brilliant Life podcast. If this showed you that your niceness was exploited and how to reclaim your power, share it with one man who needs to hear it. Hit subscribe, leave a review, and if you're ready to stop being a nice guy and start commanding your life, book a free consultation at brilliantlifecollective.com. Remember, you're not rebuilding the old life. You're resurrecting a new one. I'm Mike Moulton. I'll see you next week.